Live. Broadcasting live on the Double Wide Network. It's time for The Real Deal. Join the ambassador and special guest hosts as they put together great guests and honest commentary on a range of issues. One of their main topics will be preserving Native American tributes in sports team nicknames. Also avid fans of music and the arts, and they'll always make time for a great song or two. Now, it's time for The Real Deal. Here's your host, the Ambassador.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to The Real Deal at the Star Worldwide Networks and the Camelback Towers in beautiful downtown Scottsdale, Arizona. My co-host tonight is Dr. Gail Jacobs. She's a prominent doctor of education in the state of Arizona, and I'll be formally introducing her after the monologue, but she is sitting next to me, and would you like to say a quick hi?
Hi, everyone. Nice to be here.
That's right. Well, we got a lot of good things to talk about tonight. She's also the husband, or wife of her husband is the Honorable Lance Jacobs. He's a judge here in Phoenix, Arizona. Anyway, I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. We did. It's been great. And my sister came down and she cooked dinner at my home for my guests, and that was all good. And I got enough turkey, I think. Did you have a good Thanksgiving, Kyle?
We did.
Yeah, Kyle Pratt, the son of the infamous Dave Pratt, is my co-host, and it looks like he gained a few pounds.
Oh yeah, no, I gained more than a few.
Right, and well, I don't know if I did, but God. I'm so tired of turkey, man. I'm turkey enchiladas and turkey green chili and turkey this and turkey that and turkey burgers. And, God, my sister just keeps on cooking. But anyway, it was all good, and it's over, and I hope everybody else had a good time with their families enjoying Thanksgiving as well. I also had a visit from a real dealer in California, Shelby Dandridge, got a hold of me. And she listens to our show avidly. She's a Native American from Southern Cal, and she was here visiting family and friends in the Phoenix area, and she wanted to meet me. So she contacted me, and we talked for a little bit, and then we met up, I think it was Saturday, for a couple of hours. And she's a nice young lady, and she listens to the show all the time, as well as other Native Americans from Southern California. And she was very distraught over AB 30, and she wanted to know, what we're trying to do about it. And I says, well, we're trying to do a lot of things about it, and we're very distraught over it, and we think it's a violation of free speech and the First Amendment. But I said the problem with it now is Adidas, a $17 billion sports company that has more money than God, are now in the fight, and they're paying off politicians all around the country, including the state of California, to eradicate Native American names throughout the state of California, including schools, streets, whatever. And I'm not talking just about the Redskins. I'm talking about all the names. And this is a given. And if you listen to our show last week, the Thanksgiving show, you'll hear Andre Bilodeau, historian and a journalist, and who wrote the book How the Redskins Got Their Name, elaborated on it extensively. So you can listen to that show. It's archived there anytime. So with that being said, she was very upset, and I wanted to do a shout-out to her, and thanks for reaching out to The Real Deal. Thanks for listening. Keep telling your friends, sharing it, and I'll still be on the air as long as I can to spread the word for you, as well as anybody else that feels that our rights have been trampled on in this country. With that being said, I always want to do our thank you to the teams, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Washington Redskins, Golden State Warriors, Atlanta Braves, Cleveland Indians, Chicago Blackhawks, for listening and honoring Native Americans by using the names. remember what I said. They're coming after all of you, and Washington's first, and you're next. Don't make no mistake. And if Dan Snyder and the Redskins go down, you're going down like dominoes. Trust me. So our mission here at The Real Deal is united we stand, divided we fall. So let's all band together and start pushing back, especially now since Adidas is in the fight, and they are a billionaire company, and they've teamed up with Hal Britter and the name changers, and they're funding a lot of these phony civil rights movements. I also want to shout out to my Navajo brothers and sisters. Yate Nahadani Ambassador Dennis Yellhorsen Hadish Banana, Akwetzalah 505, Akwetzalah Flagstaff. Thanks for listening. Hope you had a nice Thanksgiving. Akwetzalah Navajo Nation. And Dan Snyder, Gatekeeper, Hal Britter, Klinkpapit, Ma'i, Viva Yaqui Nation. That's all my brothers and sisters in northern Mexico and southern Arizona who listens to our show all the time. I also want to thank our listeners all over the country. I hope they all had a good Thanksgiving as well, including our special loved ones in Lancaster, New York, Wilmington, Delaware, Neshaminy, Pennsylvania, Goshen, Indiana, coast to coast. We're making new friends, and as we've said every show, Star Worldwide is the number one fastest growing internet radio station in the country, ladies and gentlemen. And Kyle, why don't you tell our listeners what's the number one show at Star Worldwide?
That would be The Real Deal, Ambassador.
That's right. We earned it. We earned it, and we're still here. And I'm the sole supporter. We have no advertisers. We'll talk about that after a bit. We have no sponsors. So if you like our show, share it. If you really like it, consider advertising or being a sponsor. I also want to do a shout out to my brother, Johnny Leonard, with the American Indian Center of the Great Plains in Kansas City, Missouri. We're going to be broadcasting there someday and doing a show as well with Johnny, who's Cheyenne Arapaho. And the American Indian Center is ideally located in the middle of the country in Kansas City, Missouri, where we're going to be doing some special things, hopefully, and involving Native Americans from all the different surrounding states, including the Southwest and back east and Oklahoma and North Dakota, South Dakota. So it's going to be a real interesting facility once we get it going. So with that being said, I want to introduce my first guest here and my dear friend, Dr. Gail Jacobs. I've known Gail and Lance for many, many years. They've been friends of Jane and I for, I guess, over 30 years. And I brought her in because, and I'm going to tell you why here in a minute, but first I'm going to tell you who she is. Dr. Jacobs is an education consultant who works with secure care teachers and administrators to assist them in providing incarcerated and adjudicated youth a high-quality education. Dr. Jacobs received her BA in Social and Cultural Anthropology, focusing on indigenous populations in the Americas. She has an MA in Special Education and completed her doctorate in Administration and Supervision from the Arizona State University. During her professional career, she has taught adolescents with behavioral disorders in grades K-12, trained and mentored teachers, created career and technical programs for incarcerated youth. She was a special education specialist for the Department of Education and a special education director and superintendent in a juvenile corrections school with more than 20 years' experience in education. Dr. Jacobs focuses her scholarly endeavors on researching, consulting on the prevention of adolescents from entering the school into prison pipeline. She has served on numerous committees, boards, and has presented both locally and nationally on special education and juvenile justice systems. She's worked with Native American tribes in Arizona and indigenous people in Mexico as well. And one of the reasons I brought her in here is, as you folks know, if you followed it the way I've been following this thing with these name changers, is, for example, when they went to the Education Committee in the state of California in Sacramento months ago, Hal Britter was paying them off, bribing them, as he always does. And now Adidas is bribing them. And one of the things they waltz in front of the Education Committee is they'll have a Native American there, some young kid, And then they'll also have a doctor there. And now this doctor will have the audacity to get up there and say, beyond a reasonable doubt, that these names, Redskins, Chiefs, Braves, Indians, Blackhawks, Warriors, all of these names that belong to these sports teams are contributing to teen suicide. And he actually says that. And I brought Dr. Jacobs in here to get her take on that. Gail, say hi to everybody, and thanks for coming on. I've been trying to get you on for a long time, as you know. But yeah. I want you to talk a little bit about what we've talked about many, many times about this issue and what your thought pattern is on that.
Thank you, Ambassador, and thank you for having me. I'm not a psychologist and I'm not a psychiatrist, but I'm going to tell you I would like to see their studies, and I want to see the data. And if they're using one individual to say that this using a Native American name is actually what's causing suicide, and they don't take in any other factors, my 20-some-odd years experience working with students that are special ed and have handicapping conditions, there is no one test that shows anything that just using a name would cause suicidal effects. Many of the students that I worked with in juvenile corrections, they have suicidal tendencies, and I've worked with these students, and most of them have some very serious identification problems. They do not identify with their own parents. Most of the time, their parents, they're from broken homes. They have been on drugs for numerous years, and they have also had numerous situations in school where they don't have any self-realization, they don't have any self-esteem. And that's more the realization of why they're committing suicide. It has nothing to do with using a name as Redskins or Braves or anything like that. I can't even imagine. It's just so ludicrous to me that I can't fathom why a psychologist or a psychiatrist would get in front of a committee and say that this is the only cause of a student committing suicide. I'm sorry, it's beyond me, because there are many factors. You cannot rule the situation that they live in, the feelings that they have, and the how they were raised, how they affect in their personal life, their connections with their friends, and their social, their whole being. Most of these students, I would say adolescents, they have a very difficult time connecting with the real world. And that's more or less the reason why they're committing suicide, not because they're using a name. Right.
Well, there's the Gila River Indian community south of here, which you're very familiar with. Mm-hmm. That is rated as one of the highest suicidal rates in the country for suicide. I don't know if it's teen suicide or just suicide in general amongst the Indian community down there. And these statistics were given or told to me, and I can't fathom either that the names of these teams would contribute to that.
No, it's ridiculous. Did they ever look into the alcohol, the drugs that these individuals were taking prior to committing suicide?
Right.
The distance between being valued by their community, and then they're living in two worlds. Many of these individuals are living in the white world, and they're living in the Indian community, and they don't see the connection between the two, and they don't feel like belong to either one. Right. That's a whole issue that surrounds the suicide attempts of many, especially many of the young people. They don't know where they belong. They're not in either society.
Right.
So they have no connection. They have no mentors. They have no one that they feel comfortable with. And they lack self-esteem. That, to me, would be more of a causal effect of suicide, the drugs and the alcohol, and who they're associating with, than it would be a name. I just cannot fathom that they would say that was the only issue that they would have.
Well, see, these people are just paid actors.
Yes, obviously.
They're just paid actors, and they go around on the payroll of Hal Britter and probably now Adidas to tell this lie, this blatant lie that these names contribute to teen suicide amongst Native Americans.
And my question to them is, where's your data?
Right.
How are you coming to that conclusion? Why is it that you think that's the only thing that contributes to an individual committing suicide? Basically, what they're doing is they're destroying our First Amendment rights.
I agree.
So, to me, that's what they're paid to do.
Right.
Not to determine why the individuals commit suicide because of a name change. It's just unheard of. Any professional that really is a professional would disagree with that completely.
Right. Well, that's definitely, their agenda. There's been, I don't know if you've heard of the Annenberg poll.
No, I haven't.
Okay, the Annenberg poll is a scientific poll taken amongst the public. Mm-hmm. And for most part, everybody recognizes it as a reputable poll. And it was done some years ago where over 90% of the Native Americans polled by the Annenberg people come out and said that these names were not offending them. Now, everybody keeps telling me, well, Ambassador, we need to get another poll. We need to get another poll. And I tell them, I said, look, you can go get 25 polls, but these people are on a quest, to take away our rights. And Adidas is now involved, and they're supported by the Third Reich originally. They worked for Hitler. And what did Hitler do? He burned the books, and pretty soon the Jews were forgotten, killed the Jews, killed the Czechs, anybody that didn't agree with them, and sooner or later they'd be forgotten. And that's what's going on here with Native Americans. If they don't stand up and start pushing back, they're going to be a lost cause. Mm-hmm. And I really believe that, Gail.
Well, I do too. And where does it stop? What I'm saying is now it's some Native American names. What's next? What's next that we lose that right to have freedom of speech?
Right.
African American, the right to speak to an African American has changed drastically over the last 20 years. You cannot call them black. And, it's just this taking away the rights to call sports teams by Native American names has been going on since 1940. I did some research on it, and I can't believe some of these groups. I'm from Oneida, New York.
That's right. That's right.
Our team was the Oneida Indians. I mean, we meant no disrespect. I was raised in that era where we were honoring them. And I don't know of any Native American in Oneida, New York that was ever upset by us. They went to school with me. Why would they be upset of calling our sports team Oneida, New York, and
right.
Oneida Indians?
Right. I agree.
So, Ambassador, I totally agree with you. I think the whole push is to ruin our rights as citizens to a right to speech.
Yeah.
And just like they did in Nazi Germany, that was the first thing they took away from them. And so are we turning into another Nazi Germany? That's a question.
That's a good question. I hope not. But, these people have a totally different agenda than what people realize. That's the scary part. The American people think, well, maybe it's offensive. Maybe, and that's why this show has gone number one, is because we're telling them, hey, wait a minute. It's not offensive. There's two sides to every story. We have legitimate people on this show, Native Americans, non-Native Americans, that grew up around here, that speak the language, that know the culture, and we're here to tell you that's not the case. So we have to push back, and we have to push back hard. That's all I can tell them. It's disgusting. It's disheartening, that this goes on. But And they don't care. These people that are on this agenda, on this quest, they don't care what we think. They got the money behind them. They got the media behind them saying it's a racist issue. It's an easy story, and they just keep running with it. And that's the sad part. And you see it all the time. I mean, you listen to the radio and you listen to the TV, and you're an intelligent lady, and so it's not a good thing. But we'll make the best of it, I guess, and hope for the best. That's all we can do.
Well, it's a very sad situation, and I'm glad there's someone out there speaking up about it, because I think I read on the Redskins, the owner said he wasn't going to change the name. Thank goodness that he had the wherewithal to say that this is not a racist issue. We want to honor the name, and it's been the name for a long, long time. So, Ambassador, I'm glad that you, among many, many other people, are finally standing up and saying, I don't want my First Amendment rights taken away from me. Right. And the Native Americans, I don't believe they think that we're using that as a racist.
No, that's far from the case. So.
Why wouldn't they have stood up a long time before that, 1940s, if that was the case? Why now?
Right. Yeah, I just wonder where it's all going to end, and what's really scary now is this Adidas thing, because these teams are worth billions of dollars, but Adidas is way over the top financially than the teams, and they're using this to promote their products, to gain traction over Nike and some of the other ones, their competitors, but at the same time, they should be leaders, and lead the community instead of trampling on people's rights and underhandedly trying to take the names away. So I don't know what where it's going to stop. I just hope the people wake up and try to do something to counteract this. But I don't know. It's just something that is very difficult to comprehend, but it is what it is.
Don't you think they're really alienating more people than they are acquiring people to actually buy their products by doing things like this? Especially
I would
the
think
schools,
so.
The high schools. They're innocent of this. Why would they want? And I don't really understand the main idea of Adidas trying to take away those names. What do they have that would promote them to do this in the first place? I mean, do they get a kickback from something?
Right. Well,
I don't understand why they're involved in this at all.
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't. It shocked me. And it really did. I mean, I had no idea that it just took me by surprise that they did this. I mean, here's a $17 billion company meddling and underhandedly paying off of somebody that wants to just do away with it. And so it just blows my mind. I mean, it's sad, really. I mean, what the hell? A $17 billion company is out to get Native Americans wiped out of the mainstream. It just, it's so sickening, and then for that little girl, Shelby Dindrich, nice young lady. And I sat with her for 2 hours, and we had coffee together, and she was about ready to cry. And she just said that, why are they doing this? And I said, well, I don't know. I just had to say, I don't know. It's at the end of the day, people say, well, it's all about money, which it is, and they're doing it to make money, sell their products, and but they don't have to go around bribing politicians to do this. I would think that that they would try to do it legitimately, because I mean it's borderline illegal to go bribe politicians, and we got the goods on them. They can't say they're not doing it. We got the goods on them, and that's the other thing I want to tell all of our listeners. These protesters are having a protest in Dallas, Texas, because when the Washington Redskins play the Dallas Cowboys, I think it's in January 7th, they're going to have a protest. We're not your mascot. We're not your chief. Blah 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 blah. Well, I'm urging all of our listeners to go there and confront these people. It ain't going to do any good, but at least we got to show up and push back. And then the other thing we need to do that's very important is you need to tell everybody that's walking down the street, everybody, and I don't care if they're Redskins fans or they're Dallas Cowboys fans or Pittsburgh Steelers or whoever, you tell them that these are phony paid actors. This is a phony civil rights scam. And the people that are paying these people are Ray Halbritter, a phony Oneida Indian that's not even an Indian, that goes bribing his way around the country, that has a casino, and the ultimate carrot that they need to know is Adidas. Adidas is underwriting this. And I hope you're listening, you scumbags, because you're underwriting this for these names to be stripped away from Native Americans, to take their culture, just like the Third Reich did with the Jews in World War II in Germany and in Czechoslovakia. You guys are running the same scam, except it's modern day. But you know what the problem is? Social media. There was no social media when Hitler was burning the books and killing the Jews. Well, there is now, and the real deal's got everybody's back. So we're coming after you, and we're going to expose you. But I want the public to know that Adidas is behind this, along with Ray Halbritter. And if you don't believe me, go listen to our first show, or the Thanksgiving show, and we can give you hard-ass evidence that Adidas is behind this. And so with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short break here. We're going to be flying over to Lancaster, New York. And, Gail, you didn't know I had an airline, did you?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, Real Deal Airlines.
Oh, this is exciting.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the flight.
Yeah, well, get ready. Strap it in. And, Kyle, I want you to tell the pilot to kick the tires and light the fires, boys. Well, that was quick. How'd you like that?
That was a smooth ride.
Supersonic Airlines. That's the real deal. It's called Real Deal Airlines, by the way. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short break. But, Gail, you want to know what the problem is with these name changers?
You can't handle the truth.
can't prevail. Everybody knows strong love can't fail. Don't be pretending about how you feel. Don't be pretending your love is real.
Thank you. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. We're in Lancaster, New York. We just freshened up at the terminal, and now we're going to go talk to our second guest. That was before. That was who was that?
The song?
Yeah,
That was Eric Clapton.
Yeah, Eric Clapton. I knew it was somebody. Eric Clapton. I'm sorry. He's a rocker, and thank you, Kyle.
Of course.
And the song was "Pretending," and he says, "I knew she was pretending all along." But yeah, he's a rocker, and I hope everybody likes my music because I kind of get caught up into it. Do you like my music?
I like it lots.
Okay. Well, with that being said, I want to go introduce Dr. Jacobs to our next guest. And this lady is just a wonderful lady. I call her the American family when I see pictures of her and her beautiful daughters and her husband in Lancaster. And she's been with us from the very beginning, and we're going to be with her to the very end. Gail, I want to introduce you to Brenda Christopher. Hi, Brenda.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Hi, Gail. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Brenda. It's very nice meeting you.
I am so thankful that we got to catch up with you because we miss you guys.
I know we've been so busy here, but we have lots of fans that listen to you all the time. So
Right.
Thank you for continuing to do what you do.
Well, thank you. Gail, I don't know. I'm going to give you a little information about Brenda.
Okay.
This place in Lancaster, New York. You're from New York. You know where it is?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, they had a school there for 90-some years. Or you can correct me if I'm wrong, Gail. Brenda. And it was called the Redskins. And
68 years.
68 years, okay. And generations of families who live in Lancaster, their parents, their grandparents, their great-grandparents, their kids, they all went to this school. Mm-hmm. And so this guy, Hal Britter, he sent some people up there, this guy from Oneida, he's a fake Oneida, by the way. Mm-hmm. He sent his cronies up there and paid off the school board to yank the name away from these people. And he did. He paid them off, and they yanked it away. And so this lady here is so strong and so brave, and her with some other ones, they said, we're not gonna put up with it. We had no say so, we had no vote, nothing. They just told us we're taking the name away, and if you don't like it, that's too bad. So this lady here that's on the air with us right now, she took it upon herself to say, we're not going to put up with this BS. So there's 7 school board members, right?
Right.
Okay, there's 7 school board members, and last summer, her and another lady who feels the same way, as long as everybody in the community, by the way, they voted 2 of them out, and they voted. This lady has other jobs and other things, and other careers. Both of them do, but they were so adamant about this name that they said we'll run for school board, and they did, and they won. Both of them won.
Good for you.
And so now they need 2 more, and that's going to take place, next year?
In May, yep. Next May.
Next May, there'll be 2 more, and they're going to run, and then they'll have control of the school board, and then they will change the name back. And ladies and gentlemen, you make no mistake, I will be there. I will be on the front row, just as I've always said. If I have to hitchhike up there, I will be there, and I'm going to tell you right now, this is the first school, the first community in the United States that's going to push back and take the name back. And we're all in, right?
That's right. We have our name's been retired since March now, and our school board meetings prior to this issue coming up were hardly attended. You might have 5 people who attended a board meeting every single month, and now it's standing room only, and it's been 6 months, 7 months since we've retired the name. So the community is not healed, and I don't see that happening. We have other issues now that have come to the forefront, and people are referring the newest issues back to the Redskin issue. And everything we do now, now that I am part of this board, everything comes back to the Redskin issue. So it tells you this community is not over it, and they're still very upset about it. And people come up to me all the time. People I don't even know in the grocery store or whatever. And you got to get that name back. You got to get that name back. And the support behind the movement hasn't died at all. I really thought it would fizzle. It hasn't. It hasn't at all. It feels great to have that kind of support.
Absolutely.
But we are a very tight, small community, and we treasure tradition, and that's exactly what it is to us. So, to have people come in and, you said that, these people came in and stripped our names. We haven't seen higher hair of them since.
You won't.
So, it's like they came in, they turned my little town upside down, and they're gone. And we haven't heard a word from them since. And it's just a shame. They've just moved on to destroy another community, and it's awful. It's absolutely awful. So
they're just like locusts. One of the people that this halbritter sent in, you're going to love this one, Gail, is a convicted felon, a convicted arsonist. Yeah. And this isn't made up. I mean, we got police records on this guy. He's got a rap sheet a mile long. He's not even he's Canadian, and he's not allowed back in Canada, or he won't go back into Canada because he's a convicted felon, and he knows he can't come back. And he's just a total fraud, just like the rest of them. And these guys go around preaching, and the same people, Gail, the same people went from this town to Wilmington, Delaware. You know where Wilmington, Delaware is?
Yes.
They went down there because they have a school down there called the Redskins. Oh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they're just pathetic liars.
Yep. And the message was the exact same. Like, I talked to the people in Wilmington, and I would tell them, this is what's going to happen next. It did. And it was amazing how our stories were identical. So everything we would talk, oh my goodness, that happened here too, and that was said here. It was just like a mirror image, and even now, So the good news for them is they can learn from us, and we're trying to help them as much as we can by warning them and arming them and educating them. And so far they're okay, but I don't know. They're very rocky as well, and I hope to God that they're not affected like we were. It just turned us upside down, and it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. I just want to make one comment. The person that you spoke with, the convicted felon, as we call him too, he attacks me personally constantly.
Does he really?
And it's awful. The things he's done and said, and it's terrible. And I don't give in to him. I don't even look at him. I don't deal with him. He's not worth it. But he made a comment about, this middle-aged woman needs to get over her high school mascot. And I thought, if I have the right to be upset, it's mine. You're a middle-aged man who's upset about my mascot. Right. You know what I mean? So why are you upset, but I'm not allowed to be upset?
Right.
So, so we battle, but we know here in our community what it means. We've learned so much about Native American culture going through this from all of you, and helping us and educating us, and we know the truth. So that's why if we had honest hundreds of thousands of Native Americans telling us this is wrong, they're not though. We have hundreds of thousands of Native Americans saying, please keep this name. So those are the ones we're focusing on. We don't want to ignore those people. We want our tradition back. We want to keep their culture in our schools, and that's what we're working to do. So In fact, I'm wrapped up in my redskin blanket right now talking to you. So.
Are you? That's good. I bet it's cold up there, huh?
Actually, it's not too bad up here. We're in the 50s today for Buffalo. That's a heat wave.
Yeah,
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So we are. But yeah, it's funny that I just looked down. I'm like, oh yeah, look at that. I'm all wrapped up in my redskin blanket. So
Yeah. Well, we, as always, I want to, this, as I said on the show, this fight has taken us from coast to coast, from California all over the place. So, but I never forgot about you, ever. And,
no. You've been wonderful. Thank you.
And same thing in Wilmington and Goshen and all over the country. We're here. Unfortunately, we don't have the funding that these billionaires have, but the Native American Guardians Association, which I'm a member of, an officer, and as well as Andre and Eunice and Mark, and we're there, and we're trying to launch that thing to get some nationwide publicity. And accumulate Native Americans and non-Native Americans all around the country to be supportive of that, so we can use that as a vehicle to get the word out as well.
Absolutely.
But the problem is you can only go, money helps solve a lot of problems.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, we don't have the money to solve a lot of problems. We're all stretched, and everybody's got jobs, and I have companies to run and families that depend on me, that I employ the families, and they count on me for their paycheck. So there's things that I have to do to keep my companies going because I'm a businessman. I'm not a billionaire,
right.
And I'm not retired.
And that was our problem too. Had we had.
Yeah. And I'm not.
We could have fought it a little bit harder too. But,
that's the problem. So when you're up against billionaires, and now you're up against a company like Adidas, that's really dangerous. Right. That's really dangerous. I mean, that's a game changer, folks. I'm telling you, that is a total game changer. And I don't know where it's going to end up, but we're just going to try to hang on and keep fighting the fight. But that kind of shocked me. Did you hear? Dr. Jacobs on the first half of the show?
I did not, actually. I apologize.
Well, that's all right.
I'm glued to this TV channel right now about this California shooting.
She refuted this claim that these name changers, they haul around some sort of doctor that comes out and gives this phony testimony that these names cause suicidal effects and all of that stuff. And she totally refuted it. And it really don't need any refuting because we all know it's a bunch of BS. But she refuted it. So when you get a chance, you can listen to what she has to say, because I'd really like to have her go as a spokesperson for the Real Deal, or possibly even NAGA or the American Indian Center, to talk about her credentials and the things that she's done here in the state of Arizona. And she pretty much just laughs it off and thinks it's just totally ludicrous, which it is, right, Gail?
I agree. It is. There's no data.
So too, and
I want to see the data. Where is the data that shows this? And
where is the backbone? Where is the, our country's becoming so soft, and people are offended over the littlest things. And I have teenage daughters, and I have, since the day they were born, life's tough, and you're going to have to deal with things and grow thick skin. And I've always taught them that. So to go through this and to hear things like this name is causing children to come now, I find that so hard to believe. And like you said, where's the data? Where's the facts? Where is someone's suicide letter? Where is something to prove otherwise to me? But it's everything. It's every little thing that people can be offended by. They're offended. The word makes me nuts, So I'm offended that you're offended. That's how my new approach.
Right. Well, that's good. But it's really at the bottom line is these people at the end of the day are trying to trample on our First Amendment rights.
That's correct.
Absolutely.
And if we give up a little bit, they'll take a little bit more. Where does it ever end?
Exactly.
There is no
Where
end.
does it? Right. We've questioned the same thing.
If this offends you, something else down the road is going to offend you, and they're going to take those rights away. And eventually we won't have the First Amendment rights at all.
You know, the live and let live philosophy really is the easiest way to live. And if people would just live and let live, what a magical place this world would be. You know, just live and let live. If this bothers you, I'm sorry. Look away. You know, you don't need to be involved in that. There are things that I may not like, but I'm not, it just is crazy to me that so much time and energy and money is wasted on the silliest things. Our school is now spending a ton of money redoing everything in our building. And it makes us crazy. You know, we watch and we're like, wow, we're educating children and we're spending all this money on renovations. Crazy. This is absolutely crazy. And to watch it come down is just heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking.
Did they strip away the beautiful logos that were in the schools?
They sure did.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, dear.
They sure did. In fact, we had an event going on in our gym. Our gymnasium in high school was untouched until about 2 weeks ago, and some of the people were there to watch their children's sporting events or whatever, and noticed, all of a sudden they see the scaffolds with paint, the tarps, and we're like, oh no, here it comes. And sure enough, the people were posting pictures of it, and there was an event at the school, and I said, you know what? I'm not ready. I can't go see it. I cannot walk in that gym. I can't watch that happen. I don't want to be there. I don't even want to look at it. I don't even say the word. The new name that we have, I don't even say it. I won't acknowledge it. It's a very painful thing. And, people are like, that's your high school. You're 47 years old. Get over it. It's not it. It's tradition. And it's our right. And it wasn't bothering anyone for 68 years. And all of a sudden, it's this horrible, nasty thing. And our students, though, it's awesome. Our students are still wearing their Redskin gear to school. They're still cheering. I went, there's a big rivalry football game, which attracts thousands of people, a high school football game. And it's tradition as well. And it's awesome to see 30 years after I graduate, these traditions are still happening. And the kids there are all wearing Redskin clothes. And I had to really look in the crowd of thousands to find the new logo. But when I just look next to me, there's a Redskin jersey, a Redskin shirt, hat, something. And the kids were cheering for them. They were cheering for the Redskins. So it was awesome to see. It was great to see. I loved it. It's tradition. Like I said, it's 6 months and I'm still not over it. So I don't think we ever will be.
No, don't.
So
just hang tough, and hopefully I'll still be around, and we'll keep fighting the fight. And I want to keep you on the show, and Greg and everybody from up there to just give us updates and tell us what's going on. And we're going to change the name back, and if we have to, we'll raise the money to get the logo back.
Right. I think our community would be pretty supportive. So, no, we got to wait and see. We've said that too. We're a community. We make decisions together. That's how it should have been done. And had the community decided, this never would have happened. And we're gonna let our community talk, because we know what they want. And tell me what you want. Do you want this name back? And I know they do. So we're going to listen to what they want, and I'm excited. I'm excited for the next year. It's going to be a little crazy, but good things come to those who wait, and hard work always pays off. So that's our focus right now.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's like Greg Soika said. He said, if they put it to a public vote, and if it goes down, I'll live with it.
Right.
But they didn't do that because they knew they couldn't win.
No, they would never have won. In fact, just about 2 weeks ago, there's a thing on Twitter. I'm not on Twitter, but my children are, and there was a thing called Western New York Polls, and somebody started this where you can put up a poll about something, and there are hundreds of them, and one of them was, Redskins or the new logo. Like I said, I don't say the name. And that's all set. And you had a vote between the two. And the Redskins won 82%.
That's awesome.
82%. So these are high school kids. Now, can anyone vote? Yes. Is it completely legitimate? No. But does it have to be? I mean, it just proves to you, even if it was, kids that don't live in Lancaster, it didn't matter. 82% of the people who took that poll, and there were 1,600, I believe, 82% of those people chose the Redskin name. So what does that tell you? And every poll that we've seen, even nationwide, has been overwhelmingly leave it alone.
Right. So, well, that's the thing. See, you can take a nationwide poll, but these people like Halbritter and Adidas, they don't care.
No,
they say you can bring 1,000 polls. We don't give a damn what the public thinks, what Native Americans think. It's all about what we think. We're going to shove it down your throat. This is the agenda. Right. This is our MO. This is the quest. Mm-hmm. This is our mission. Just like what happened to the Jewish people and the Czechoslovakians, where you take away the culture, burn the books, kill them, do whatever you got to do. And it's for Native Americans, it's the up-and-coming slaughter. It's social and cultural genocide.
Which is so sad, isn't it? And I had this conversation, too, with the board, and I said, I understand that you heard from people who weren't happy with the name, and you listened to them, and you digested what they said. I understand that. But there's another group of people you're ignoring, and it's not us blonde, white Lancaster people. It's the Native American who it's just easy for me to say it's not offensive. It's not my culture. When you're listening to that culture tell you, please don't do this. Leave our culture in your schools. Why aren't you listening to that? That's the part I can't wrap my brain around. Like I said, if the culture as a whole came and said this is wrong, well, that's different. But that's not what's happening. And that's the hardest part for us, is that there are so many Mark, for example, who came here and tried to help us fight for that and sat in a room with them and said, I am Native American. I'm telling you, this is okay. And to be ignored, it's something I'll never get over. I just can't wrap my brain around it.
Well, see, that's the thing. They don't care. You could have 500 Native Americans up there. They don't care. Right. They're gonna push their agenda, pay them off, do their dirty deeds and move on. And now they got Adidas behind them. They got a lot of money behind them, and that's a game changer. It really is. So it's just something that's very, very scary. And I wish the media wasn't so liberal, because they're a bunch of liberal scumbags for the most part.
Awful. Awful.
And they don't want to print the truth. They just want to play. No. They want to play the race card whenever they can play it, and it's an easy, juicy story. And they're all a bunch of losers. But it's in. I don't know where it's all going to end up. But it's like Gail said. Our First Amendment rights are going slowly down the tubes here.
Absolutely.
All over the country.
I fear for my children. I do. They're 17 and 15, and I look at them and I want to apologize and say, what? I'm sorry. Sorry that this is the world we're leaving you, because it's awful. It's not a good place, and I really hope something changes quick, because I'm afraid. I really am. I really fear for them and future grandchildren someday. What's it going to be like? And it's such a shame, because we are such an amazing country, but I'm losing faith, and that's not good. That's not good.
Well, you can tell them that complacency is the worst evil that they could have, because what's going to happen is the same thing that happened in Germany was complacency. The German people just didn't say anything. They didn't care. Right. They didn't know what was happening. And when you become a nation of compliant and complacent individuals, then we lose our freedoms. And Absolutely. By the time they strip us away slowly but surely, then we find out it's too late. So I want to say, I hope you keep up the good fight. I think that's a horrendous thing that's happening to your school, and I'm glad someone in your community is standing up for it. So I wish you all the luck.
Thank you. We have an amazing group of people. People I've never met before this issue who now consider each other family. And they would do anything to help us save this name. I'll put a message out there. Hey, I need some help with this. I'm there. Here we are. What do you need? It's amazing. These people are just diehard fans. You know, we love our school. We love our tradition. We love our Redskins. And we've all been out of school for 30 years or more, and we just cherish that. So amazing group of people. I love this community, and that's why we're fighting so hard. We all do. So
well,
I do have to tell you before you tell me that my time is up, sir.
No, your time's not up. Your time's not up. Keep going.
The Buffalo Bills will be playing the Washington Redskins on December 20th.
Nice.
Just so you know, I don't know where to put my money on that one, but I'm a Buffalo girl, but I'm a Redskin fan. So
well, you're good. I don't know if you heard my show a couple weeks ago. I went to a Redskins game.
Yeah, I saw that. That's awesome.
And and I got to thank. There was a guy there last weekend. I was not there. And
Dave.
At the Washington Redskins game in when they played last week in FedEx Field, and there was a guy there parading around a sign that said Dennis Yellowhorse, the real deal.
Oh, I did see that.
Did you see that? I don't know. I do not know who that guy was, but I'm glad I just thought of it because I know he's listening. Thank you so much for carrying that sign around through the stadium and taking pictures and with all the fans with the real deal sign, and that's on our Facebook page, by the way.
I did see that on your page, yeah.
Yeah, so we got to be doing something right, but
that's kind of cool.
But you know what? What I was going to say was, I went to the Redskins game, and every Native American in this country should put on their to-do list to go to a Washington Redskins game.
Absolutely.
It really. You've been to them, haven't you?
I haven't been to that field, but I did want to go. I wanted to go to the Buffalo game. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make it.
Right.
We were excited. We were all going to go. My whole team, when we saw that they were playing each other.
Well,
5 days before Christmas,
the Redskins game was electric. And I tell everybody, I was totally impressed, and it takes a hell of a lot to impress the ambassador.
That was a good game, too, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. And they won big time. And they were marching around the field with these big flags and singing the song, Fight for Old D.C., and the cheerleaders. And there was no mascot. That's a total lie. But it really it was enlightening. And every Native American should go to a Washington Redskins game, a home game, because when they walk out of there, they're going to feel proud that day, and I don't know how many thousands of people's in that stadium, but they're thinking about Native Americans that day. I can tell you that right now.
Absolutely.
And it was really enlightening to me, and I'd never been to one. But
look at Robert Dorr, right? Look at Bobby.
Yeah.
Native American, works for them.
Yeah.
And is happier than can be.
Right. Yeah.
Did you get to see him when you were there?
Yeah, we run into him.
Yeah,
he's walking through the
absolutely.
stadium, and we went by and said hi and talked to him for a little bit, but it was nice, and I bought a bunch of stuff, and I got me a Redskins blanket and a Redskins scarf and a Redskins this and a Redskins that.
Yeah, that's how we are here. We have ornaments on our tree. And
atta girl, yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, it is about time, but I want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I hope you and your beautiful family had a wonderful Thanksgiving.
We did, thank you.
Did you? And I look forward to having you on. And I am definitely going to be there next spring or summer or whenever when the roof comes down. I'll be there to fight the fight. But you just remember the real deal, Naga, the Yellow Horse companies. We all got your back all the time. And this is always as long as I can try to stay on the air here, this is a platform for Lancaster and anybody else in this country that wants to preserve the names that honor Native Americans. And I don't care if you're Redskins fans, Chiefs, Braves, Warriors, Blackhawks, Cleveland Indians, it don't matter. They're all important names to us. But thank you for coming on, and take care. Give your family a big hug from the ambassador, and I'll see you on the radio.
I will. Thank you so much for having us. I appreciate it.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Go Redskins.
Go
Bye.
Redskins. Okay, well, that's about wrapping it up. Gail, thank you for coming in. What did you, now you know what I do over here.
Yeah, I was wondering all these years, but no, seriously, I've watched your show. But I want to thank you so much for having me on. This has been a pleasure.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and you know how passionate I am about this, and I think Jane would be proud.
I think Jane would be very proud that you continue on the fight for her and for her nation. Thank you, Dennis, very much.
You're welcome. Well, with that being said, we're at the end of the line. I'd just like to say, you know, I can't do this on my own forever. I mean, I'm sorry, I'd love to, but I can't do it. And so I'm trying to get some help. So we're trying to get some advertisers or supporters, sponsors, whatever it may be. You can go to www.yellowhorse.us or email us at info@yellowhorse.us, or you can also call 602-540-3000, 602-540-3000 for advertising on The Real Deal. We're going to have stuff posted up on the website and also on the Real Deal Facebook page all the time that will give you an insight of where we're going and how we're going to get there. I tell everybody, well, there's light at the end of the tunnel, but unfortunately that light is the Adidas train coming down the track that's going to run over us if we don't do something. And that's the scary part about all of this. But thanks for listening, and hopefully we're going to see you here next week from NAGA, The Real Deal, the Yellow Horse Companies, UMate International, HUMATE.com. That's a company that we own that provides organic products around the world. And if you need any organic products, that would help us out tremendously. And you can buy them, resell them, use them, whatever you want to do. And they come from the Navajo Nation in Gallup, New Mexico. So that's a good website to look at. So with that being said, I guess we're going to wrap it up. We're going to call it a day. And we'll see you guys when we see you. And so, Kyle, why don't you just tell our listeners one more time while the ambassador's here?
Kick ass and save names, Ambassador.
You got it.
Thank you for listening to The Real Deal. Tune in to The Real Deal with the Ambassador and special guest hosts every Wednesday at 5 p.m. and on demand 24/7 right here on Star Worldwide Networks.